Here is our Q&A spotlight question for the day. Hi, Josh. Thank you so much for your help. Is there anyone doing in-depth sessions or webinars specifically for parents where alienation or estrangement is caused by the daughter-in-law or son-in-law? Reuniting is difficult and falls apart if a spouse doesn't want you in the picture and they influence, criticize, lie, and manipulate as necessary to keep you out. My adult son cannot and doesn't want to see us because it's just too much stress for him, and I miss my grandchildren.
Yeah, I have a whole chapter on that in my new book, Rules of Estrangement. I also have a webinar on that topic called Dealing with Your Difficult Son-in-Law or Daughter-in-Law. When I wrote my first book on estrangement when parents hurt, I really didn't realize how commonly a motivated son or daughter-in-law can be in causing an estrangement. But since then, I've talked to thousands of parents who've had the cause of their estrangement be because of a motivated son-in-law or daughter-in-law. In my survey of over 1,600 parents that I did through the University of Wisconsin at Madison Survey Center, a lot of estrangements happened after the child became married in response to who they married. In my own clinical practice, it's much more common to see that the daughter-in-law is the gatekeeper than the son-in-law. And that's in part because daughters-in-laws and their mothers can become a very, very powerful dyad. So where the son is kind of welcomed into the family fold and then the doors close up behind them. Men may also be much more vulnerable to this because for most men, their wives are not only their best friend, they may be their only friend. Men's masculinity is in general a fairly fragile entity, which means that a lot of men are very easy to manipulate by saying, well, you need to be a man and stand up to your parents and not be a mama's boy. And I'm your new family now. You need to protect me. Many men are very vulnerable to that. A lot of men, if they have their men or women, if they have complaints about the parent that might not be a big deal, they may use the anger of their spouse's complaints as a way to kind of talk about their own complaints about the parent. So what I commonly advise parents is that you have to see your new son-in-law or daughter-in-law as the gatekeeper. You can't go around them, you have to go through them. And what that means is that they're the new alpha. So if you're gonna write your kid an amends letter, you have to write them an amends letter. If you have any reason to think that they're behind it, your estrangement, you have to write them an amends letter. And a lot of parents say, well, they're not going to relent, and maybe they won't, but you're doing it for the audience of your child, because most children who allow this to happen are conflict avoidant. So you're doing it so that your child can say to that spouse, look, I think my mom or my dad or my parents are really trying, they wrote this letter to you and to me, let's give them a chance. Otherwise, if a parent doesn't do that, then the motivated son-in-law or daughter-in-law can say, well, your parents don't even care what I think. They haven't even apologized to me for whatever trivial thing it may be. So I think those are the general ways to think about it.
Okay.